Back again. It's another one. Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. I'm in my jammies.
Yes, I am basically in my pajamas.
Using the blanket you so kindly let me use.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Feetsies.
It's a good one. It's pretty warm.
What a night.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that we are recording because
I could not sleep after this.
No
way.
My heart is racing.
Beth, some people do drugs. I watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. That's how I get my rush.
It's the same feeling.
It's like I feel like I just got off the roller coaster and I want to get back on.
My adrenaline is pumping like I'm having a fight or flight response to what I just watched on TV.
I'm out of body.
I'm in my body, but my body feels like it needs to run a marathon.
I know. I should exercise after watching The Bachelorette.
I also drank a cup of coffee because I knew we were going to be talking, so I didn't want to get tired, but I honestly don't think I needed to because of all the stuff that happened. And now I'm just like, bah!
I'm worried I won't be able to go to sleep tonight because I drink coffee before every episode.
Yeah, you got it.
We've been, just because we stay up late for this. But yeah, I did not need it tonight. I am,
I'm riled up.
Wired.
I have so many thoughts. My stomach is churning. And I know we have there's so much stuff that happened, but we also have stuff that's happened over the week.
I know.
That's equal
we do need
drama.
To talk about it.
So we have a lot to discuss.
I know. This might be a long episode.
Yeah. So
buckle up, everyone.
Buckle yourself. Secure your oxygen mask.
Yes.
But make sure
your bags are secured.
Yes.
In a safe place.
In the overhead container.
Yes. Or safely below the seat. Make sure your feet aren't blocking it.
Put your chair in the upright position.
Yeah. Make sure the tray's put away. What I want to say is last week I'll be honest, I was losing hope in my favorite show. And I think it showed in my role in the episode last week. I felt like I didn't have any direction with where this was going.
Well, we didn't really. It was just they did this, then they did this, and what was the point? I don't know.
And we knew what was coming, but there was at the same time there was no direction in last week's episode, and I felt that way personally on a spiritual level.
And it was just I think there was still some entertaining stuff that happened, obviously, because we talked about it, and I think it was there's some fun stuff to joke about, but the stuff that makes you love The Bachelorette, the nitty gritty, the drama and the relationships, none of that was there last week.
No, all I can recall to you right now is the tour of Bennett's chateau last week.
The only thing I can think about is the room covered in grass. That is the only thing that I can think about.
Nothing else I can recall. It doesn't matter. Last week was last week.
It literally doesn't matter that happened.
I literally put in my notes, this episode revived my hope. Action-packed. The episode we needed.
It's not the episode we wanted. But, I guess we kind of wanted it.
It did what last episode should have done.
I agree. Last episode did not need to exist.
No, except for the Bennett moments. But I guess before we get into the episode, we do need to talk about some Bachelor Nation news.
Yes.
So much happened. First, we want to talk about Promgate.
Oh my! So I already forgot about Promgate because of everything that happened.
To remind you guys, Jason and Claire had a conversation last week where they both revealed that they did not go to prom,
and we talked about that, and we were like, they were trying to paint themselves out like they were the nerdy
evidence.
Yeah, because we were saying they're probably the coolest kids in school. And of course, Jason is extremely attractive and so is Claire. So we were joking about that last week.
And we asked for evidence and we got evidence.
Yeah, tell us.
The evidence was a woman on social media who, because of the backlash of this evidence, has now gone private on her social media and removed the initial post.
Wow.
Posted a photo of Claire and her now husband, not Claire's husband, but the woman's husband.
Right.
Going to what she claimed to be senior prom. And Claire immediately responded, was like, I went to a new school my senior year and I didn't go to prom. This was just a dance during my senior year.
Oh my gosh.
What an eye roll.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme, whatever, but It was definitely the conversation that her and Chasen had was like, oh yeah, I'm an outcast too. Like I didn't even go to prom because no one asked me.
And I get that you can go to dances and still not be popular. Plenty of people who aren't popular go to dances.
Sure.
But I really think you are truly, what she said, invisible when you don't go to any dances.
Right. Like my husband, for instance, did not go to a single dance ever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he was invisible, but I'm saying like that's what I expect when Claire made that comment.
Yes. And not to say I didn't think I was invisible in high school, but I didn't go to any dances either. But to play devil's advocate, I feel like everyone has a pretty poopy time in high school. So I don't know. I just feel like
it was just like, I mean, okay, we're going to get into a lot of stuff that happened during the episode and whatever. But I mean, I think we went pretty easy on Claire so far.
I've been too easy. I've been
too easy on her. And honestly, that's about to change. But that was like the first thing that really, surprisingly, like really just discredited her to me. I was just like, I'm sorry, but I don't think that I can trust what you say. She
obviously wasn't invisible because at least one person noticed her because she went to dance.
Yeah, and she was looking poppin'. She
was cute.
She was so cute. And she had that hairstyle where you like the early 2000s where you like clip your hair back in those little clips.
And she still looked good.
Yeah, and she looked great. Yeah. So that's the first drama. I feel like we shouldn't dwell on it because there's so much to say.
Okay, so next, the Yosef TikTok
tea.
So to set the stage for this, a girl came forward named Carly on TikTok. Now, I'm not on TikTok, but I ended up seeing this on Instagram. She shared this long-winded story with receipts, to be fair. That screenshots, everything that you needed to make sure that this was a real story. Basically, Yosef, like Tyler C. said, was being reckless.
And we mean Tyler C. from West Virginia from the first episode of Clare's season, not Tyler C. Bachelor King.
Yes. And he said Tyler C. from this season said he was being reckless on Instagram, which now we know is an understatement of what was going on because he was talking to multiple girls. He accidentally sent a video of himself doing very questionable things.
Should we say what it is or no?
We'll say he was pleasuring himself.
Yes.
And he sent it to the wrong girl. It meant to go to another girl. So he got caught.
And that's the girl that posted it on TikTok.
Yeah.
So the girl comes out and she's like, oh, Yosef and I were talking after the Bachelorette filming, right?
Yes.
So they were talking and it was getting serious and he came to visit and was saying like, I could see myself marrying you, all this stuff. And then lo and behold, accidentally sends a snap of himself doing something.
A lot of himself.
All of himself to someone else.
It was intended for someone else.
And she saw it. So basically he's just... I mean, we're gonna talk more about him very shortly.
Yeah. So knowing that piece of information, watching this episode just made my stomach turn. But in an exciting way.
I was clenching my fists.
Yes, we'll talk about it more. There is discussion. There's still discussion. Did Claire and Dale talk before the season shot? At this point, with all the excitement, and I don't know if I care anymore.
No, I don't care. It's irrelevant. Like, whatever, if they did. But you should say the theory that you were telling me about.
Yes, that's next in my notes.
Okay.
I've heard a theory, guys, that there might have been. So, filming was supposed to start in March, mid-March. And that was when the coronavirus hit America hard.
Right.
And there's a theory that they already filmed a night one in March, had to stop filming, go on hiatus, and then they had to refilm night one as if no one had ever met each other and act like they didn't know each other, which is why we got those snippets of audio where like Dale's like, how's your mom? Kind of like almost like a check-in, like a follow-up.
Right, as if they had spoken before.
So the evidence that shows this is that there are photos of contestants at the LA airport, LAX, around March 7th, March 10th.
Interesting.
And why would they be there unless they were going to be filming?
Were they all together?
No, it was like there's
Okay.
like 2 or 3 different contestants they've gotten on photos.
That's very interesting, though. I mean,
Like there's literally a photo of Blake Moynes apparently sitting next to Kelly Flanagan from Peter season
What?
on a plane because Kelly was apparently supposed to be filming something too for The Bachelor.
that's weird.
Kind of like the remember we got the relationship update from Kelly and Peter
Yes.
during the greatest seasons of all time.
Yes.
Maybe they originally intended to do that early on in Claire's season when it was supposed to film initially in March. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So no, they could have all gotten to LA and then be like they could have cut filming before they even started.
Right. Like
night
they
one.
could have gotten there early or something and then.
But it's a theory. It's out there. There's no proof, hardcore proof. But I'm just going to let that sit there for you guys.
It would be crazy if that were true. I feel like I don't think that it is, but at this point, what do we really know?
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning.
Yes.
And it's worth offering up for your consideration.
I agree. Okay, 2 more things before we get into the episode. Clare Crawley's Twitter likes.
Oh, yes.
Now, if you're not familiar with Twitter, I'm not really a heavy Twitter user, but Beth is. I love your content on Twitter.
Oh, thank you.
By the way.
I wouldn't even say I'm like super active, but.
You're way more active than I am. Because mine's like a professional library Twitter.
Right.
So I don't really go and tweet stuff about The Bachelorette on it.
Right.
But so on Twitter, if your profile is public, everyone can see the tweets you've liked. Fun fact, I dated a guy who would like really bad, raunchy tweets.
Oh, no.
And he didn't.
And everyone could just see
everyone
it.
could just see them.
And how do you not know that?
And I was like, dude, I can see what you're liking.
pretty
and it's a bad look.
I'm pretty sure that's how it is on Instagram too.
Yeah.
Like if you're on your Explore page, you can see like, oh, this person recently.
So if you're on Twitter and you're liking tweets, be
just
careful.
watch out. Be
Proceed
aware.
with caution. But Claire has been liking tweets that have been basically, I mean, shading production.
Sure.
Now she's not tweeting anything shading production. I don't know if liking tweets that shade production like goes against her contract at all, but let's see some of these tweets. Do you have any of them pulled up?
I can get some pulled up. I did some, investigating earlier.
Basically saying like production. This was production's idea, like the stripping. That one of the tweets even says that getting rid of Claire early was production's idea and not Claire's decision.
Well, okay, so this tweet says production knows exactly what they were doing. They've never had a lead just quit. And with how excited and bad Claire wanted this, I doubt it. They were ready with a backup as soon as they found out that Claire was into Dale and it was a wrap. But, okay, let me tell you this. When I was going through and screenshotting and seeing what she favorited a tweet by a bot. Like, I went to the profile and it was a fake profile.
Moment.
So, I'm like, I mean, obviously, we're not saying that these people, this is obviously just opinions, but just the fact that she favorited a bot tweet, I was like, okay.
Yeah. So, I'm just interested. At the moment Claire was chosen as Bachelorette, I was already looking forward to the moment she'd be off contract because
she's gonna share.
She's gonna share, and she's going to be, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Ruthless.
I was gonna say aggressive, and that wasn't working. Ruthless is correct.
She's not gonna hold back.
Yes. Okay. The last and probably the lightest note that we have about Bachelor Nation news. It came apparent, or it became up that Dale, who is a model now, he's been modeling. He does
and we can see why.
We can see why. He's absolutely gorgeous. But he has shown that he has done his time. He has earned his right to be in like Nike ads because he was a Party City model and modeled for costumes.
LOL, and I mean that literally. When you guys have just got to look at some of these photos. Maybe we'll post some on our Instagram.
Yes,
because I saw some of them on Twitter while we were watching the episode. Just picture Dale in a Superman costume,
a taco costume.
I did not see
the
that.
taco costume is my favorite one.
I have to see that. I will be looking that up as we speak.
The Superman one, I mean, it's relevant because to Claire, he is Superman.
He is her Superman.
Okay. So
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
He's a taco. He's a snack.
Oh my gosh. I wish that they had used this for his like bio photo.
They need to do.
And he's holding 2 maracas in his hands.
He's a party taco.
Oh my gosh.
They need to do a date where they literally just go through the contestants' Instagram presence.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, did he post these on his Instagram? And that's how.
No, or even just like web presence.
Yeah, they need to do like a full on background check, deep dive.
But a date, like as a date, like have it projected onto a wall.
That would be funny.
And maybe have like if they could ever have a live audience for it, have people comment on it.
That is
Date idea for you production.
Yeah, you're welcome, production.
Okay, so let's dive into the episode.
My stomach just dropped when you said that because I'm nervous.
I know, but we have a lot of thoughts, and I am excited to share them.
Yeah, because I haven't heard any of your thoughts yet.
Yes,
because that's we watch the episode together, but we have to be silent because we obviously want to talk about it.
Because I definitely screamed a couple of times.
Sorry, downstairs neighbors.
Sorry, neighbors. I live in a house now, so I've forgotten
the apartment life.
I still can walk tenderly, because I naturally do that, like still. But the volume thing is, I've forgotten.
I think they're cool with it.
I appreciate your neighbors. Okay, so we jump in to the episode. We get a little bit of whiplash because we didn't end on a ceremony.
Yeah, I was thinking for the first couple minutes, I was trying to orient myself and remember, like, okay, what happened? What are we walking into? And I was having a hard time.
Reorient myself.
Right. So where did we leave off?
So they're just in the middle of the cocktail party.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of build up to this Yosef drama that we're about to talk to, but it hasn't happened yet. He literally has been talking to everyone about it except Claire.
Right.
Which is so annoying to me.
Basically from like the dodgeball, well, maybe before the dodgeball tournament.
I do want to note before we get into the Yosef drama, I noticed Jordan C's fashion choices again. And I know I don't like his hair. I know I've talked about that enough. But now I feel like he started wearing the chain with the pendant because he noticed Dale wearing the chain and it was doing wonders for him.
Yeah.
It's not working for Jordan
No, and
C.
he was wearing a black, some sort of black shirt with an interesting collar.
I think.
And now that you say it, you're totally right. He was like, okay, Dale wears black and he wears a chain, and obviously something about that is
working.
Is attracting Claire and pulling her in. So I guess I'm going to ditch the bandana and go out and buy a pendant.
I think Jordan is channeling like 90s fashion. I see a lot of 90s vibes, but it's not working for me.
No, it's the 90s fashion that should stay in the 90s.
Yikes. We said it.
We said it. Sorry, Jordan. Jordan C.
Let's get into the Yosef drama. Now we know Yosef.
And it happened so fast.
It happened so fast.
It's like 3 minutes into the episode.
Punch.
Yeah.
But knowing what we knew about him before this episode with his social media activity.
And his poor behavior choices.
It made me nauseous. He said, she's the oldest. She's supposed to be the most mature. Completely unacceptable. Completely classless about the dodgeball strip date, which, let's note, he wasn't even on that date.
No, he was not on the date. Okay, here's what I think. So the reason he's upset is because the men are basically asked to strip as losers of the date. And I get, from a certain perspective, I get that. Like, that's a bit of a double standard. If I was a woman and
it would never happen.
No, it would never happen. So I 100% understand, like, I'm not cool with that. I don't think that was a good choice. I'm not saying it was Claire's choice because I've seen a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I want to know is, like, he wasn't even considering production's role in this at all.
Yeah. We don't see her be like, okay, everyone take your clothes off now. And so I get on the one hand why that would be uncomfortable. And I get it. Like, if you have a daughter, you have a family watching, that's maybe not something that you're going to want to do.
But he wasn't on the date.
No, but he wasn't on the date. And he says he calls her out for her raunchy humor, quote unquote.
And then he says, well, as he's walking to have this conversation, there's like the audio of his thoughts.
Right.
And he says, I'm going to go wash my hands of this atrocity. And talk about classless. I mean, his social media activity is questionable at best.
At the very
very
best.
best.
Like, I mean, and I'm not here to judge you, but if you're talking about you're concerned with like your daughter
and being an example,
and you're just sending these nudes of yourself to the wrong woman.
So you're doing it so much that you get confused about who you're sending them to. Come on.
Bruh.
What I'll note to Claire is, though, she did welcome the conversation with open arms. She was open to hearing his concerns.
She was. And I also, so like, okay, so he's saying all that and he's walking over and it's the build up and you're like, wow, what is going to happen? And when they sit down and he starts to bring it up, I noticed that Claire looks kind of tired, not like bad, but I mean,
of course she's tired.
Yeah. So, but from what I was getting was this is already very far into the cocktail party.
Yeah. It's late.
Yeah. So
which is why they didn't have any more after this.
Right. And she was trying to make an effort, like you were saying, to say like, yeah, please tell me what's on your mind. Cause she's all about that open communication.
But this clearly was like not a discussion because he definitely wasn't looking to have a conversation. He already knew he wanted to leave.
Right.
And what did I write down? I said he could have just left and said like he knew things weren't going to work out.
Yeah.
But he had to take a moment. This is what to me is narcissistic. He had to take a moment to cut her down before he left, which to me is what he would say classless.
Well, and it's not all of the stuff he said could have actually been productive if he said, these are my legitimate concerns. And
without the insults.
Yeah, and this is what made me feel uncomfortable. I feel like she would have really respected that and been like, I'm really glad you came to me. But you're right. His intention was not to have a productive conversation. It was to gaslight her and trash her and then diminish her. Ditch.
Yeah.
Like he knew he wasn't going to stay after that. Yeah. Obviously.
Well, you brought up a good point. Like he brought up his concerns. And she tried to like cut in and be like, I understand, I hear you. And then he was like, I'm going to keep going. And that's when it got bad and dirty.
Well, and that's when, so that part was, he says, you know, I've given up a lot to be here and I have a daughter at home. And Claire tries to say, you know, I understand my mom is dying. I totally get that. And I feel like in some instances, when someone tries to relate to your circumstance, but it's not the same, it can feel kind of unfair and like
it could feel like you're not listening, but I really felt like that was a good reason.
Right. Yeah. And she was trying to make a connection there and validate his feelings.
And that's when it turned. When she tried to make the connection, he was like, no.
Yeah, he was like, no, I'm going to keep speaking.
And then he says, you're not setting the right example for my daughter. I'm ashamed to be associated with you.
And then calls her crazy.
Calls her crazy. And I put, speaking of examples, he's not being a good example of how to communicate healthily or appropriately with not just women, but like people in general. Like if this is how he handles conflict, then he was just
ranting at her. That's it. That's all that I could describe it as.
And I get that Claire wanted to like have her word. And I know sometimes in those scenarios, like you look back and you're like, oh, I should have said this or I should have said that. But honestly, I feel like the best thing probably that could have been done in this scenario is like notice that it wasn't going to be a discussion and just be like, well, clearly this isn't going to be a conversation, so I'm just going to send you home because I get like it's good to like feels good to release like that rage like she did.
Yeah.
But obviously I feel like it kind of went to waste because obviously he wasn't listening.
Any cares about that.
Zero cares.
And then I have never seen something like this on The Bachelor where it was a legitimate fight.
It was
and there
raw.
was no resolution and they were straight up yelling at each other in like
it was like a Maury moment.
They were both like legitimately pissed.
Yeah. I feel like there's been fights before in the franchise that they almost have to refilm and restage. This was definitely like the real moment.
Right. And
Tensions were so high.
And I feel like in this very rare case, it was actually more dramatic than I thought it was going to be.
I felt it. I mean, I was feeling so many emotions.
I couldn't believe what I was watching. I don't understand. I have no idea what Yosef thought. Like,
how he could have thought he would have ended up like on the good side.
No.
Of that.
I mean, I don't think that was necessarily his plan because he had basically decided that he didn't like Claire. Which also that's fine too if you're not into it.
He literally could have just said, "I know this isn't going to work, and I'm going to leave." But he had to do.
He's clearly a very selfish and prideful, misogynistic individual.
That's putting it very nicely, Beth.
Yes, to say the least.
Yeah, misogynistic, completely disrespectful, does not know how to handle conflict.
And like I said, took something that could have been legitimate and just went completely the other way with
rails.
Completely off the rails.
So yeah, I honestly don't want to give any more attention to him. He's gone. Good riddance.
Yeah, he sucks. I'm gonna say that straight up. You suck.
I don't hope anyone gives him a platform to speak anymore about this.
Goodbye. See you never. That was inappropriate and rude.
His true colors.
And also, it's like I get that you're trying to figure out if you like the person, but it's not about you. And if you don't like the show, then no one gives a crap.
Yeah. No one.
So
I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank God. Dale swoops in. I'm sure some production member went and said, "Hey, things are hitting the fan.
You need to go over there.
Go over there and make sure she's comforted." I need to say this. Dale's mom needs a reward, a ceremony, a vacation, free vacation.
All moms need a vacation.
We need to GoFundMe for Dale's mom. Like, I hope she can go on good vacations because I feel like Dale makes good money. And I hope I'm sure he's taking her on nice vacations.
He's certainly dressed well.
But we need like some national recognition for how she has raised Dale. He says the perfect things.
Well, and he has sisters. He said he has all sisters.
He has lots of women in his life. So maybe they can get some sort of honorable mention.
Right.
He says, "You don't have to apologize for anything. You don't deserve that. Let it go. You don't have any control over that." And he seals it with a forehead kiss.
Oh, man.
We love that.
And he says, "Who wouldn't want to spend time with you and to be with you?" And then he also says the classic, "I'm here to please you, not appease you."
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, obviously stuff happens with the escalation of the Dale Claire situation. But in this moment, I was super impressed with his response. I do think it was exactly what Claire needed. And my personality is very cynical. Even though I really like words of affirmation, I have a hard time believing when people say them sometimes.
I believed this, though.
And I felt like this was real.
I think they have a real connection.
I think, well, obviously they have a real connection.
I know, I'm just saying, like, later on the guys try to, like, say they don't, but they clearly do. And we get a moment where Claire says, "It's not even the second rose ceremony, and I am so falling in love with Dale."
And let me just ask you this. Are you surprised to hear her say this?
I'm not, but I mean, this has never happened in the history of the franchise. Like,
if anyone, it would be Claire, though.
I mean, this is the only time we've ever gotten it recorded and shown. Like, on the lead, very well may have said this before, but they've never shown it.
Right.
But I don't think I literally think this is the first time this ever happened.
It's kind of funny because obviously Luke P and Claire are not the same, but he pulled this move to the lead.
That's true.
And everyone was like, that was super weird.
Yeah.
So I'm not doubting that Claire is believing that she's falling in love with Dale, but I'm like, okay, girl, slow down. How many days have you known each other?
You're very right. You're right, but I do think it is a little bit different from the Luke P situation because
Yeah, I'm not saying it's
that
the
was
same.
not reciprocated.
Right.
From
No,
Hannah B.
I'm not saying it's the same. But honestly, sometimes when I watch Claire and Dale, I get nervous that Dale doesn't reciprocate in the same way that Claire does. Because she's just so into him that she's like almost steamrolling him and like projecting all of this perfection onto him.
I thought that at first, but with the group date, I think it's reciprocated because he clearly
That's true.
wanted that time.
Okay, that's true. But it was just if this was my friend telling me this, like if this was you telling me this, I would be like, no, you're not in love with him. I'm sorry, but you're just not because you don't even know him. And maybe that's just me being cynical, but I wasn't surprised at all because it's Claire.
I have no room to talk. I told my husband, we told each other that we were in love with each other within 10 days.
Of knowing each other?
No, not of knowing each other.
Well, that's what it is, Kara.
It was our second date.
Of knowing each other.
Yeah, but we had definitely had hours and hours of talking.
Okay, because
it is different, but I just can't. I can't shame her too much.
I'm not even shaming her. I'm just saying that that's pretty wild.
It is wild. But I also am that person who believes it's possible.
Who's to say that it's not going to work out? I'm not even saying that. Let's just acknowledge that is wild.
It's wild, but I totally believe it's possible.
I believe it's possible.
Okay, so let's get back to the moment. So Dale comforts her, and then Papa Chris comes in and comforts her. And I liked this moment because it was definitely a break the fourth wall. Chris Harrison doesn't have his usual hosty vibe. He's talking way lower.
He really did not. It didn't feel like the thing where they go and get him and they're like, Chris, you need to come in and get some good sound bites. This felt very genuine to me. And maybe this is just me being a little bit of a...
They could have told him to get sound bites, but they wanted him to come off casual. Because he has I feel like he has genuine friendships with leads.
Yeah, it was a very sweet moment. Like he was actually checking in on her.
I liked it.
Me too.
I want more of this toned down Chris. I want a couple buttons unbuttoned.
Yes.
I want like a little ruffled hair. Maybe like he's drinking on the job. I want a little bit of that.
Please, Chris.
I want some lax Chris.
Become a bit disheveled.
When is Lauren Zima going to make her appearance on the show now since they're an item?
I feel like maybe if they get engaged or something.
If they get married, they'll co-host the show together.
What if Chris proposes to her on The Bachelorette?
That would never happen.
I know, but
it would happen on a golf course. That's where it would happen because he loves golf.
But
if you're not familiar with Lauren Zima, you need to look her up. She does Roses and Rosé, covers the show, and she is a goddess.
Is that how they met?
She met him through interviewing. Like she was interviewing him for ET, I think.
That's romantic.
Yeah.
That's super romantic.
You need to hear their romance story. I think there's a podcast that covers it. I'll try to find it. Okay, so we have that moment. Then we have Claire going to the men and sharing that they're not going to have any more of the cocktail party. They're going straight to the rose ceremony. And we get the Bennett empathy adorable grouper face.
Oh my gosh. I called it a puppy dog face.
I think it's a grouper.
A grouper. Like the fish.
Yeah, but in a cute way.
Yeah, he just looked very empathetic to her situation. But also just sad probably that he wasn't going to hang out with her.
All the guys were being really nice about it.
Yeah. And
now that Yosef is gone.
For some reason, it made me chuckle too when during that they were like focusing on different people. And it cut to Chasen, and Chasen was wearing a full white suit.
He looked good.
And he was just looking good. And he said, you can't disrespect a female like that.
Or just a person.
I know. It was just funny that he said female.
I love when she said, Yosef is gone, and you hear someone say, thank God.
Yeah, I wish I knew. Who do you think it was?
I think it was Jason.
Jason.
That's the energy I got.
His energy is all over the place.
I got some red flags from Jason this episode.
He's a bit intense. And then also, did you notice that Jordan C. was carrying around, unexplained to anyone, a stuffed animal lion?
I saw that. I thought it was a teddy bear, so it was a lion?
It was a lion. I'm pretty positive.
He was carrying that. I saw a shot of it when he was talking to Claire.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't get that story. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff like that, like little presents and stuff. I bet he sleeps with that.
Yeah.
which I can't judge. I slept with a stuffed animal until I was married.
I did too, and I wanted to keep sleeping with it when I was married, but then my husband
really gets
wouldn't.
in the way with snuggling.
Nate just wouldn't let me.
What?
He was just like, that's kind of weird. And I was okay.
If Cam ever judged me for that, I say this a lot. I'm just like, I do what I want. And it's not hurting it, I just got rid of it. Or I can get rid of it, but it's in my like memento box.
I don't know where mine is.
But we're a cuddly couple and it just wasn't working.
Okay, yeah, I don't like that. I need to have space.
We separate.
I need to have
sleep.
room. I need a bigger bed at this point.
Yeah, I
because
also want a bigger bed.
Nate's legs are really long and
y'all are both lanky people.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room in there, I'll tell you that. But okay, anyway, also Bennett, when Claire was said, so they cut to Chase and he says the thing about the female. Then they cut to Bennett and he says that he's bummed because he has something, quote, fun and nice and sweet planned.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
I am crushed that we don't ever find out what that is.
Details.
I need more of Bennett, period, but I really need to see.
He needs a spinoff. I don't think he'll be the Bachelor, but we need something.
If he was a Bachelor, I would die. But I don't think he's going to be the Bachelor. But like, if they just if they made some sort of show about him, whatever it was, I would watch it.
They need to take like Paradise and adapt it to just be Bennett.
They should do something like Bennett in New York.
Yeah, he would thrive in that environment.
And then it's just like Bennett like living his life in New York.
And going on dates.
Yeah, and going on dates.
New York dates.
Yeah, it's kind of like
him
The Bachelor.
Taking the ladies on the town.
It's kind of like The Bachelor, but it's just the people that he meets like on his dating app, and then they film it.
I'm down.
I would 100% watch that.
Hey, we're getting all these good ideas. Someone do them.
We need to make sure we're compensated for this if this ever happens.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so let's get to who left. Blake Monar, who's the male grooming specialist.
I don't even know.
Which is just
who that is.
You're a hairstylist. Garen, I think he's the journalism professor.
Also don't know who that is.
You would recognize him.
Would I?
Yes. And then Tyler S., who I had to like search very hard to even find him because he looks like Jay.
But he looks like Jay, yes.
But he's Tyler S., and he's a music manager, and we literally saw nothing of him, so he's gone.
Yeah, I saw a tweet on Twitter of a screenshot of him when he got sent home, and they were like, if you gave me $100,000, I couldn't tell you who that is.
And I usually know all the names by now.
I'm pretty good with
one I don't know.
I'm pretty good with them too, and I would have bet money that I had never seen him before in my life.
I thought he was Jay. But I put down, say what you want to say about Claire, but she kept good men this week. I'm still on the fence about Kenny because his tattoos are trash.
I love Kenny. His buttons on his shirt are just getting more and more unbuttoned each time we see him, and I feel like it's his only strategy that he has because he hasn't spent any time with Claire.
What strategy that reminds me of is I just remember boys in youth group doing that.
Like deep V's?
Like when they got their chest hair, the first chest hair, they were like, I'm a man. And they started unbuttoning their shirts a little bit deeper.
I don't think I was really ever crushing on guys who had button-up shirts.
I didn't crush on them. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that was a tactic, and I saw through it. And those were the same guys who played Blackbird on the guitar.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, actually, a very specific person just popped into my mind, and you're totally right. Yeah. Like, I think that all happened to me in youth crew.
Anyways, that's why I'm not on the Kenny train. But
I love Kenny.
I'm not saying he's a bad guy.
I stan him.
Okay. Well, okay, I do still owe you many, many apologies till the end of time because I was deeply wrong about Bennett, and you were the most right about Bennett.
I knew it.
So,
and everyone thought he was going to be creepy, and I said it. And I also did see a tweet from Nick Viall that it's like he tweeted on October 13th or something that Bennett's going to be a fan favorite. And I also had that same thought.
Nick Viall, I mean, he can smell success because he is one of the most popular contestants of all time.
Yeah, so maybe I just have an eye for it, like him.
Because you were also destined to be famous.
I gotta
Tell
figure
you
out.
this all the time.
I gotta figure out how. That's the only problem.
It's gonna happen. Okay, let's move on to the group date from the next day.
Yes.
This is the group date where, well, we'll get to it, but it says separating the men from the boys. It's Jason, Jay, Easy, Chasen, Blake, Ed, Bubble Boy, Riley, and Dale. So this is the date where Claire cuts the day portion of the date off, and there's only a night portion. I want to preface with that because we don't even find out. Like the date card says separating the boys from the men.
Right.
We don't even know what the date idea was.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot. I mean, I knew that they didn't end up doing the day part, but
Yeah.
yeah, we got to talk more about that later because I feel like something else happens before that, right? So we should talk about that first.
So Deanna, well, I want to know, Claire's wearing a square neckline. Very hard to pull off.
She looks so good.
She looks hot.
And she's wearing like these flowy pants.
Very resort wear.
Yes, she looks like she's in Cabo, but she's at La Quinta.
She's in Palm Springs. Deanna DePappas, I think is her maiden name. She was the Bachelorette in 2008. Fun fact about Deanna. So she didn't end up with the person she got engaged to at the end. She got engaged to a guy named Jesse, who was either like a snowboarder.
LOL.
Like they did not go together at all. But she ended up with, so Jillian Harris was the Bachelorette after her.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up marrying a sibling from one of the contestants from Jillian's season.
What?
So one of the top 4 from Jillian's season, his name's Michael Stagliano.
I cannot believe you remember all
one
this.
of my favorite contestants of all time.
Really?
Absolutely adorable, hilarious.
What is he? Who would you compare him to that I would know from The Bachelor?
He has similar, he's like kind of like Wells, but he's a little bit more like all-American cutie.
Okay.
But
I love Wells.
Michael Stagliano, I was in love with him on Jillian's season. But he has a twin brother.
Ooh.
And Deanna actually ended up meeting him through Bachelor Nation, and they're married.
I love that.
Yeah.
So she did end up with someone from Bachelor Nation because of the show.
Yeah, I mean, the sibling, well, he was on the show. He was on the Hometown episode because Michael Stagliano had a Hometown.
Right.
And then Michael Stagliano, he didn't end up with Jillian because she didn't choose him, but he also did find love eventually. He's married, but not to anyone from Bachelor Nation.
Wow.
But he found his happy ending. Anyways, that was a detour. I love Deanna. She's from Georgia, actually.
Oh, weird.
I believe she's from Snellville.
I don't know. Well, I don't know why I asked because I still don't know where anything is in Georgia.
Well, the only reason I remember that is because I used to live close to Snellville, and it was a big deal when we saw Deanna on Bachelorette. It was like, oh, she's from close by.
We basically know her.
Anyways, I know too much.
No, this is good. This is the info that we need. The background knowledge.
Claire meets up with her and she indulges about Dale, and Deanna says she's radiating from the inside
And so why
out.
did Deanna come? Do you think that was just like something to do?
This is just the classic Bachelor franchise moves to bring someone. And they're like, I think they're of similar age range. Like,
okay.
I feel like bringing like Hannah Ann to talk to her about what's going on would be cringe.
Yeah, that would be so odd.
They're on just different levels.
Yeah, because Hannah Ann's 23 and Claire is 39.
And they might already be friends because they've both been in the Bachelor world around the same time.
Yeah, they're more like peers.
Yeah. So, because Claire's been in the Bachelor world since 2014. So, I mean, that's a little bit
Only
after.
2014?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's after Deanna, but they're of similar age, I think. So, I think they have that connection. So they have like a girl, gab time. I really liked this. I think they have a genuine friendship connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could tell Claire was really happy to talk to someone.
Relieved. You could see her like let go.
And what did she want to talk about? Dale. Dale.
And Deanna indulged her because she was like, it's true. When you know, you know.
Oh my gosh. That was, I cannot believe. Deanna, I don't know you, but she said, have you ever heard that saying?
Come on.
When you know.
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but I was like, Deanna, did you just hear this phrase like 2 years ago? As if this is some obscure, wise adage.
I was like, I was like really ready to hear like, okay, what's she gonna say? What's she gonna say? And then she just says, "When you know, you know." It's like,
Oh my
let me
gosh,
think. Have I ever heard
shook.
that?
Wow.
And then Claire's like, "Oh wait, let me think about that. When you know, you know. Oh, I think that happened to me."
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, this is the exact. I mean, I really liked their time together, but for someone who's already extremely obsessed with one person, I'm feeling like this was the wrong thing for Deanna to say.
Yes.
Because now
Deanna didn't know what she was getting into.
no, she didn't. Deanna didn't know. She doesn't know what she's dealing with here. But now Claire is just gonna play that over and over in her head for the rest
When
of
she ends the season, she's going to be like, but
Deanna
Deanna told me, when
said."
you know, you know. Come on, Claire is the queen of cliches. She's heard that 1,000 times. She probably has it written in her journals.
That's what she was writing in her polka dot
It
journal
might
that
be
we saw.
tattooed on her body, for all
Probably.
I know. But then Claire says, very casually and not staged at all, "Oh my gosh, this might be the shortest season ever." Come on.
That's how I feel about that. But also we have to talk about that Claire has Dale's pants and she's smelling them.
Yes. So we didn't see this, but we did see that Dale ripped them during the love languages date. So when they went to run to get the gifts.
Yeah, I forgot that.
It was very quick. Someone pointed out he ripped his pants.
That's why they kept that in there, because it came into play.
Now, yes. Good
all-
point.
it's all
connected.
clear.
But we never saw him giving them. So he gave her the puppy perfume and the pants.
But Kara.
She was smelling them.
Well, also, I almost just
And
called
there
you
was a bow
Clara.
on
I almost
them.
just called you Clara because of Claire and Kara's messing me up.
It's okay.
But did you hear that she said that she told Dale to give them to her? She was like,
Spicy.
I want those.
He
What
gladly
a-
obliged.
What a freaking weird thing to do.
She likes bold.
That's not bold. That's strange.
I think it's both bold and strange.
Are you telling me that if someone ripped their pants on the second date that you had with them, you would be like, "Oh my gosh, can I have your pants?"
I'm not saying bold is good here. I'm just saying that it was bold to ask.
It was, yes, it was bold, among other
And
things.
Claire, Dale's, I guess, feeling it.
And
Because
she
he
was
gave them.
But like, okay, maybe Dale and Claire are meant for each other, because if
They
I
are.
were him, I would be like, what the censored?
No, they're meant for each other. I
guess.
know. I get you. It's strange. I'm just saying that it was bold, and that's her word of the year is bold.
Is it?
Yes, she says it 1,000 times. She's like, I always want a man who's bold.
Oh my gosh. Well, she's bold enough for both of them.
But you know
and she
what?
was just like throwing them all over her face.
Yeah, that was weird. She went for what she wanted, and it worked out. So
I
good
can't-
for her.
I cannot imagine smelling someone's pants.
I never want to smell my husband's pants.
Worn pants.
He doesn't wash them enough
She
to
was-
be start.
Yeah, you know they're not getting their stuff dry cleaned every day.
No.
They're re-wearing their outfits. It's rank. It's gross.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm sorry, but
we have to move on.
Yeah, you're right. There's more stuff to talk about.
Okay, so everyone's waiting around for this date to start. And everyone's like, we've been waiting around. People are falling asleep waiting for this date to start.
It's dark outside.
And
it was supposed to be a day date.
Yeah. I had forgotten about it because the
Yeah.
conversation, the pants threw me for a loop.
I was enthralled.
And Claire shows up and she's like, sorry, I kept you waiting. And she's just honest with them and says, I decided to cut the day portion and only stick to having quality time at the night date. But to me, cutting any time of the date is cutting.
That's quality time, my friend.
Now, I know the day date, you're usually not having those conversations. But any sort of interaction, like, there's a lot of dates where you may not be talking, but you get a chance to, like, maybe show physical affection or say something nice.
Or if it's a competition, like you get to see people's personalities come
That's
out
true.
in different ways than you would
Good
just
or bad.
one-on-one in a conversation.
How they play with others. They play nicely, play
right.
well.
And I feel like Claire just wants to sit around and talk to everyone. Well, we'll get into this more later.
Yeah.
But that's not fun. Like, that's not what you do all the time. Don't you want to do something?
I want to do something fun.
Yeah. If you're all just sitting around in La Quinta, don't you want to take every ounce of what the Bachelor production has to offer you?
You want to take every advantage of the La Quinta Resort and Spa.
Yeah, and I want to know what the date card meant.
Yeah. Well, one thing I will compliment Claire on is her outfit. This is not a typical cocktail party Bachelor outfit. It's not a dress. We see shorts, like
and the
bodysuit, and the blazer.
That was very fashionable.
I liked that.
Me too.
I don't think I would look good in it, but I loved it.
I also loved it. I was thinking, do you think that there's a possibility that for some reason production had to cancel the day portion of the date? Like maybe they had planned something and then because of COVID, like the vendors couldn't come, or
I think it could have been a lot of different things.
I'm just wondering because maybe it wasn't Claire just being like, I don't want to do it.
I think Claire owned it. So I really do think it was
and she
her
personally
decision.
came in.
Yeah. I don't think she would have owned it if it wasn't her.
Yeah.
Like, they could have easily been like, sorry, something happened with production. She could have been honest about that.
I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but never mind. No. Because you're right.
So Dale nabs Claire. He says he just wants 5 minutes. Cue to Riley. This is the beginning of the Riley-Dale dynamic.
Yes.
Now, I could see... Oh, wait. Also, we want to note that Dale calls the group for a group hug.
If I was here, if it was like I was in the situation of dating the lead and someone else, one of the other contestants did that, I can't tell you how annoyed I would be because I'm just not that kind of person.
It depends on how my relationship with that person who started it. So if it was like my friend who started the group hug, I'd be like, let's do it. But
even if it was my friend, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to
so
do it.
You're telling me if I started a group hug, you would be like...
I guess I would do it, but I don't like group hugs.
That's okay.
And I
also am not a fan of them.
That's just not my personality at all. And
I think Dale was just trying to have some sort of semblance of unity, even though he was taking time.
Even though he's about to rile everyone up.
Yes. So Riley is already riled up and I can see why he's could be potentially annoyed by Dale because they have completely different energies.
Totally.
Like,
Riley's but they're both very intense.
They're both intense, but they're different types because Riley's more of this macho, manly.
Like, I'm gonna woo you.
And Dale's more of this, like, I get like a puppy quality.
Uh-huh. Where he's like, let's all just hang out and get along, guys.
And I can see Dale is probably accustomed to being well-liked, and I can see why. He's very likable.
Yeah, he seems very friendly.
But in a competition environment, that's just not... Like, you can only ride that wave so long.
And no one wants to group hug right now. When you're the favorite and you're asking for time first, no matter what you do, that is not going to go over well. Yeah. And a group hug is not going to fix it. And you are delusional if you think it will.
It was, he tried. So
he tried and failed.
Claire takes him to her room. It's clearly her room. We see the Presidente on the door, on the wall.
Oh, the presidential suite.
She has the presidential suite. They go to, and she says it's her place.
I was wondering why it was named that, but that makes way more sense.
Yeah. They have a good talk, but they also make out a whole heck of a lot.
What is their talk, though?
He says, they talk about the Yosta situation. He says, I've seen verbal abuse that women in my life have gone through. So, I mean, I think they connect on a lot of levels there because they've both been through a lot, I think.
Yeah, and Claire, she's definitely been through, at the very least, a difficult time. So to have someone who can kind of understand where she's coming from, I'm sure is key for her. Mm-hmm. But after that, it's just a lot of, you're perfect, no, you're perfect, no, you're perfect. And then they just make out and he sticks his hand up her shorts.
Yes. And she says, this is so hard.
Wait, she does?
But I think she just means like
I know,
holding back. But we catch that little snippet. I do want to note that we cut to the one-on-one date card getting sent to Zach J. Just for a moment. We get the one and I put down... This date, they better go ring shopping to make sure that he knows that a butt ring is never acceptable.
And they didn't.
And we'll talk more about that later. But
Missed
that was
opportunity.
cut to here. So I just had that in my
Yes,
notes.
I always find it interesting how they do the cut scenes.
Yeah. We go back to Dale and Claire making out. I'm cringing. And
They're flat on the bed, her jacket's off.
Yeah. It's getting hot and heavy. He's pulling her leg.
It's date 3.
And then the guys say, should we send out a search party? It's been an hour.
Which is that's just not cool.
An hour? That's not cool. Like, I get like 20 minutes.
And I get being annoyed at Dale, but actually that's on Claire, in my opinion. Yeah. Because, and I think it comes up more in the future, but she is the one who can set those boundaries and she's choosing not to.
Yeah, because the contestant's going to take what they're going to
Exactly. And like, even you see it when people ask to cut in, it's really up to the lead to determine.
To set that tone.
And the fact that she's not managing her time, it's just as much a reflection on Claire as it is on Dale.
So Easy comes and crashes and catches them. Not like in the act, but it's pretty obvious what's going on.
Well, you can see he's standing outside the door, and I don't know if he can actually hear.
I don't think he could actually hear what they were saying.
But you got to know it's happening.
Yeah. And then Dale says, I'm going to catch so much riff for this. And I thought it was so funny because, like, they obviously captured all the awkwardness. And Dale says, we were just having a conversation. And Claire's, like, fixing her hair, like, as he's saying that.
Dale gets really weird, doesn't he?
This is what I said about Dale. Dale obviously can't lie. And he can't cover things up, which to me is great in a relationship because you're just going to catch them
especially
whenever.
with someone like Claire.
Yeah. I mean, I like that aspect.
Yeah, but it makes for a very awkward interaction.
In this environment, yes.
That was so strange.
Yeah.
And he was just smiling a lot, and then he asked if he could have one of the snacks, but it was a dog treat.
It was all uncomfortable. In the best way, though.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
This was a good kind of cringe.
And then Dale goes back, and we get the Blake Moynes laser death stare. I was waiting for lasers to come out.
And he up and down stares at him like his eyes go from the top of Dale's head to the bottom of his shoes like, I hate you.
I didn't like that.
It was... I kind of lived for it. I'm going to be honest with you.
I liked the drama, obviously, but... I didn't like the laser eyes. Laser eyes like that, I don't want in my life.
I think it's a red flag, but I already didn't like Blake Moynes anyway, so it just made me laugh.
To me, it's like, if you look at someone like that in any situation, that means if I'm in a relationship with you, I could potentially be the receiver of those eyes.
Like, I'm scared.
And I never want to be that.
You've never looked at someone like that before?
I can count on one hand how many times I've looked at someone like that.
I think I look at people like that when they're talking and someone else is talking.
Cam wouldn't dare look at me like that. And if he did, it wouldn't end well.
I've looked at people like that on several occasions. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think I do it internally. Like, I'm burning through them internally.
The internal up and down.
It's my Scorpio. I don't need to.
I think it's my Aries rising.
Yikes.
That makes me aggressive.
And then we get a cut to Claire with the producer saying, can we hurry the rest of this along?
Which, okay, it could be edited, but I don't think it is. And this makes me really mad.
Claire, here's the thing.
Don't hold back. Say what you want to say.
She's not fooling anyone. I get that in our lives, in our day-to-day lives, we muscle through a lot of conversations that we probably don't want to have. We act like we're happy to have those conversations because that's life sometimes, hopefully not all the time. But she thinks she's fooling anyone with like this fake laughter when she's talking to guys. Like, they're saying things that aren't even funny. And she's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I'm having a great time. That's a good point because
laughing at something that's not funny, we need to stop that in 2021.
No, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
Laughing
no
at
one
things.
believes you anyway.
I think it's a challenge for women to stop doing that because like I think a lot of times us as women, we want people to feel comfortable, at ease.
And she definitely has that nurturing type of.
Yeah, and laughter can be very comforting in a lot of ways. It can be uncomfortable sometimes, but especially when you're talking to someone who you want to build them up, laughing at something that they think is funny, even when it's not. I heard a good tip from that from a dating coach, which I wasn't from a dating show, that said, stop laughing at things that aren't funny. It's not cool.
Yeah, and it'll eliminate a lot of people that you don't really want to hang out with, probably.
So early recommendations, stop laughing at things that aren't funny.
I think that you're right, though. She is definitely, like, she talked so much at the beginning about respecting the process and really wanting to find her husband and really getting to know everyone. And so she's, like, trying to do that, but she also doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
And
there could have been a little more effort.
But she thinks that she's doing a good job.
Yes.
And she's not.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
At all.
It's just...
This is the first of many instances.
Yeah, I think the part that gets me is I think she thinks she has other people fooled when it becomes very apparent that she doesn't at the very end. At the end of this episode.
Like, you know everything she's thinking as she's doing it.
Well, even the contestants are seeing through it.
Right.
So she's having a convo with, I think, Chasen, or I don't even remember, Jay.
I don't think it's Chasen.
It's probably Jay. And he interrupts, and he's like, oh, I didn't know someone else was in
Dale
here.
interrupts.
Yeah, Dale interrupts.
And he's like weird smiling and acting strange.
It's that same thing. He's trying to play off like you didn't know.
But he's such a bad liar.
Yeah. Which I appreciate.
But in this situation, it's just annoying.
I know, but anyways. And she allows him to interrupt and says, and I screamed because I was like, I get if you allow them to interrupt if you haven't had time already, but they literally had an hour together.
Yeah, and she neglected all the other guys, and it's not cool. It's just not cool at all. And it's honestly, it's just disrespectful to the other guys that are there.
So they get another makeout moment, and this is when Chasen comes in. Chasen interrupts, and did you see the move that Dale did? They were making out against the wall, and he goes from the makeout motion to the lean against the wall, we're just talking motion.
That was...
Who talks by a wall? They have seating. The only reason they would be there is because
they're making
you
out.
want to make out against a wall sometimes.
Sure.
So that didn't work out well, and
it definitely had the obvious vibe of getting walked in on by like your parents or something.
Yeah, twice in one night too.
That's just a bad look for Claire. Like, oh,
I want to say, did you catch what Dale said when he went back to the guys?
No.
He said,
maybe, I don't know.
He said, I was dazed and confused and lost. What the heck?
He was like, I'm so confused. I just fell into this room and started making out with her.
Are you Alice in Wonderland? I just fell into this rabbit hole and Claire was there. Oh, and then Riley does that like go on face, like, and he's like, come on.
And then the men are just not having it. They're pissed.
I do want to note though, so everyone's pissed except for Jay because he's clearly they cut to him. He's clearly zoned out.
Yeah.
He looks like he's thinking about conspiracies, like the one that claims that birds aren't real and are used by government for surveillance.
Yeah, he was
not in on this.
He's like, I'm here for a vacation. I'm hanging by the pool.
Promote my gym.
I've had a couple of drinks. And I'm contemplating life.
Yeah, but Riley was not having it. None of the other... Chasen was mad. Jason was mad.
All the ch and the jizz.
The uns.
Jason was like all over the place. He was like bouncing around.
We'll get to that in a second. His energy... Okay, so I know we talked about Zach J's nervous energy later. Like Claire talks about that.
Uh-huh.
But if we're talking about nervous energy, Jason has nervous energy to me.
It's almost like... I don't know how to say it except it's almost like he's on something.
It's almost manic.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So here's the thing. Dale gets all this time, and I think surely Claire will be smart enough to like just give the rose to someone else.
Right.
I mean, we know he's getting a rose later.
Sure.
But what happens here? Dale gets the date rose. Jason is everyone's pissed, but Jason is especially pissed. And
Jason.
And this is where we start to see the men really turn. Like, we've had this big happy family bromance, I feel like, so far. And the men start to turn on him. And Jason does, like, a condescending applause for Dale. Like,
Which is hilarious.
cringe. And also funny. And... Okay, so Dale, I want to talk about the situation back at the house or whatever room they're in where the guys gather for date time.
Well, first, I mean, I guess we've already talked about it, but at this point, it's just really, 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 really hard to give Claire any sort of credit for her self-awareness, or I don't know if you want to call it respect for the process. Because it's so, if I'm one of those men, I'm just feeling like, why am I here?
Of course. I think that she perceives the process as truly being finding who she wants to spend the rest of her life with. She doesn't see it as, I need to pump out so many episodes of content.
Yeah, but it's not even about that. It's just like, it's kind of just rude.
Oh, I mean, she definitely could be putting more of an effort, but I feel like in a real life situation, if this was real life, there's no cameras.
Yeah.
She would be doing the same thing. And that's how I think that's how Claire wants to be on TV. She wants to be how she would be if cameras weren't there.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like, that's fine, but then why did you come on The Bachelorette?
I don't know. I'm just saying
I'm not saying
it's okay. I'm just saying.
This is the wrong setting for her. This is not for her. And
maybe she just wanted a curated group of guys. That's why she wanted to be on the show.
Then just like get a dating app.
No, she would need like a professional for that. Like
get a matchmaker or something.
Yeah.
But don't come on The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
If this is how you're going to be.
Here's my argument, though, for Claire, playing devil's advocate. We asked for someone, because we've had seasons, the past 2 seasons, we've had people who didn't know what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And were bumbling around. We asked for someone who would know what they wanted and was ready to commit. We got both of those things. She is nothing if not those things. We got those 2 things. So let's not slap the hand that feeds us here.
Yeah, I know.
I get that. I hear you. She could have totally made more of an effort. There were some definitely fouls here. Foul play.
Huge.
But we got what we asked for.
That's a fair point. Maybe we asked for the wrong thing.
No, I mean, no, I think there's a balance. I'm happy we're getting this content. This episode is good. I mean, this episode was life-giving, Beth. We cannot shade it for what it was. Because without Claire's actions, we wouldn't have gotten the drama we got this episode.
It was a good drama. It was really good drama.
So without it, it would have been a snooze fest.
Okay,
that's my argument.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's fair.
I want to talk about what Dale said and how I don't think it was bad. So Dale says, I was the best man suited. And everyone's up in arms and offended about this. But here's my argument. Doesn't everyone think that about themselves in this scenario? That they're the best choice? Mm-hmm. Why are we mad that he thinks that about himself?
I don't know. Maybe they were just, I think they were already jealous. He already got so much time. And so for him to say, oh, I'm the best man to talk to her about this, I feel like if I'm another guy, I'm like, well, you don't know anything about my relationship with her. So why would you think that you're the best person suited for that? Because
everyone's going to think that about themselves.
I guess everyone should think that about themselves.
They just don't vocalize it.
Right. But I think when you combine it with the other stuff that's been going on, which I honestly don't even think that that's necessarily Dale's fault. I think he's following Claire's lead, and Claire is in charge of all of this, and this is what she's allowing to happen. Yeah. So it's really on Claire.
I just didn't see why they got so mad at him about that, because I was like,
I mean, if
it were me, I would think the same thing about me.
Yeah, I mean, they're just because...
Otherwise, I wouldn't be there if I didn't think I was the best person suited.
Yeah. It's a fair point.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rebut it because I understand. I
just thought the whole thing was a mess because it didn't make any sense.
Well, he was also just like, he tried to say it 10 different ways.
Yeah.
And you didn't know where he was going?
He does talk in circles, and that was very apparent, and they noticed it and brought it to his attention.
Yeah.
Like multiple times.
Yeah.
Also, Jason goes off here. He starts cursing. I mean...
Yeah, this is like a cutaway where he's talking just to the camera, right?
He curses in front of Dale and to the side.
What does he say?
I mean, it was bleeped out, but there was a handful of bleeps, and I just felt like that reaction was, it was an overreaction. That's what it was. It was.
Yeah, everyone's like kind of discussing, kind of.
It's a discussion, and then he's just like, because he's so mad about Dale thinking he's the best man suited.
Yeah. He was ready to go.
And he was like, "Oh, well, you think that? Well, maybe you should."
Well, how about this, huh? What about that?
And it was escalated. That's what it was, and it didn't need to be.
Yeah, it's like when you say something really casual, and then some bro gets in your face, and they're like, "Oh yeah, wanna go?"
Very middle school.
It was that energy.
I didn't like it.
It was weird.
Let's move on.
But it was also funny.
It was funny, but I was like, okay, he needs to go home.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see him again in paradise, I'm sure.
Did he make it through this week?
Oh, yeah, but he's not going to last.
Oh, wait. Was his date, like, technically the same week? Like, did he get a rose from that date?
No. It was a different...
Okay.
Because the rose ceremony's already passed.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I'm just, like, very confused on the timeline.
So we move on to Zach J's one-on-one. I want to say I was really surprised that he was the one that got this one-on-one.
Do you think it was because he is the one that Claire cared about the least? So she was like, I guess
feel like those ones just never get one-on-ones. Like they just stick to the ones that have a chance.
Yeah, like that guy whose name we didn't know.
Yeah, like I feel like there's people who get eliminated like farther down the road who don't even get one-on-ones.
That's true.
Like, for example, Natasha, she did get a one-on-one, like, very late in Peter's season. Like, it was, like, final 8 until she got a one-on-one.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, I was just surprised because I felt like there were more people who have more chemistry with her that could have gone on this date.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who had that decision, if she had any voice in it, but I just thought there could have been... I mean, I feel like Zach C and her have more chemistry. The one who's like, how did you end up here?
Oh, yeah. Or Brendan. Give Brendan a one-on-one.
A chance. Or Bennett.
Oh, what I would
they
give.
Butt heads later. So they have... Well, Claire starts the date off with audio saying, I'm in it today, and I'm in it with Zach.
Which is just
Are you
fake,
though?
fake. And you think you're fooling us, but you're not.
Maybe she intended on it, but it didn't happen. It was a train wreck.
This is the most awkward travesty of a date that I have ever seen.
Everything that could have gone wrong did.
It was also extremely boring, while at the same time being extremely awkward.
First off, the spa is like definitely just a hotel room with a foot tub thing. They bought off Amazon or something.
They couldn't even take them to like a real spa.
There was no. I also want to know if the lighting was like that harsh production lighting.
It was like you were in a school.
You need some natural light.
You
for
need
a spa
like
day.
a bubbling little fountain in the corner and some candles.
Outdoors.
It was because they need to plug in the foot machines.
I guess because it was hot outside. But yeah, they plug in the Amazon foot machines.
That was so. Why did that happen that way?
I don't know. There's no good reason. Also, they need to make sure the person, I'm sure production chose Zach J to go on this date because he's so ticklish. But did you see what they had to do to his feet to even make this date count?
Yeah, which I guess we should say they were getting a pedicure. I don't know if we said that. In case you didn't watch the episode, they were getting pedicures together.
And he's so ticklish that he can't even get a proper foot massage. The ladies literally are just grabbing his toes because that's all they can do so he doesn't freak out. They're literally just holding his big toes.
I was also thinking about being those massage women.
Bless them. I hope they got good tips.
And they came in and one of them was like, how is your day going so far? I don't know. It was just funny to me. And I didn't ever think that I would see that many feet shots. Yeah. And as someone I'm not someone who hates feet, But I definitely didn't want to see his feet up close that many times.
No. But he didn't have questionable feet.
No, they were fine.
Yeah.
But like,
which I'm not saying a lot. Some people really let their feet go. Their feet go because they're like, but no one's ever gonna see them.
Even if you don't let your feet go, usually 90% of them are still gross.
I'm saying like kudos to him because they were television ready.
Yeah, I wonder if he like got a pre-pedicure before this pedicure. I guess there's no way he would have known.
There's no way he got a pre-pedicure because he's so ticklish.
But they did not need to show that many close-up shots.
Well, okay.
And then they do that like silly music.
The awkward music.
It's just so weird.
I also want to say that Claire says that Zach J has excited energy that sometimes translates to nervous energy and it stresses her out. And I put down, I can see that, but if the level that we saw at the spa portion was nervous energy and that stresses Claire out, her stress threshold is like
very low.
Very low.
Basically, he'd have to be sleeping for it to be any less extreme.
Like, you know, I'm not a parent, but Claire, if that stresses you out, parenthood.
Buckle up, my friend.
Buckle up. I mean, you got it. She's going to have
Again, if that stresses you out, how did you come on the show?
Maybe she came on the show so she could have the money to pay a nanny to take care of her children when it gets stressful.
Maybe. How much do you get paid?
I mean, she gets probably paid, I think they get paid at least $250K.
That's not a lot.
But I mean,
I was thinking like $1 million.
But I'm thinking maybe $1 million.
I guess you have the potential.
It depends on the season. I know Hannah Brown got $1 million.
Wow. Good for her. Well, you also have the potential for like
it's not about what you make during the show.
It's the long game. But yeah, that was and I think she said something about like she's getting weird vibes from Zach. And I'm like, you know, that's definitely you, right?
She was projecting.
Yeah, she just didn't want to be there. There's nothing wrong with Zach J except for the butt ring, which I still can't get over.
I mean, I do think he is kind of oxos, but
there was nothing.
They were both being awkward.
He didn't do anything. Well,
we're getting to it.
Yeah. Okay.
I do want to say we cut to in the middle of the day. Zach C, Chasen, and Jason talking about the probability of Dale and Claire having talked before. And Jason's so angry. Chasen's a little angry. And Zach C is hopeful. He's like,
wait, Zach C?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's like, yes, Zach C, Beth. Remember him. Don't forget him. He said something like, you know, he's behind, but he has hope to catch up. In like the fourth quarter
I remember that. That was nice.
Yeah, Zach C's good vibes.
And they're all wearing neon Speedos.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Look how attentive I am. I was so...
That's all I was thinking about. I wasn't even paying attention to what they were talking about. I was just like, I can't believe they're all standing in Speedos.
Wow.
Talking
what
about...
I prioritize, what matters, the conversation.
I guess. It was just funny to me.
So we cut back to the date. Claire is absolutely miserable. Like, she's not even trying to... If she's trying to hide it, she's failing.
She's just laying on that float. Doing nothing.
Oh my God. Thank God Honey came in, the dog.
That dog was the best thing about that date.
The highlight. And then we have the most awkward non-kiss of the year. I thought they kissed
of the
and we
century.
Rewinded and they didn't, no lip touching.
So
happened.
let's just break down what happened here.
So Claire, I think she's just over the date. So she's like, oh, let's go change and get ready for the night. She just wants an excuse to get away.
Uh-huh.
So as they're getting out of the pool, and she's mentioning let's changing before the day, I guess they're saying goodbye as they're getting out of the pool, which is not really a good spot to say goodbye in the first place.
Yeah, because she's like standing on the steps and he's down in the pool. Yeah. So there's always already a weird height disparity.
Yeah. So she like is getting out of the pool, but then she comes back down to kiss him, and she gets within a centimeter or two of his lips.
It's like the moment when you think that your favorite characters on a TV show are finally going to kiss and then someone walks in the room or like something explodes and then they don't and you're like, no, you're so close.
Yeah, but it was not magical in any way.
No.
That's the big difference.
It was not.
And then nothing happens. And they pull away, and Zach was like, what was that? And she was like, And the worst thing she could have said in this moment, she said it. She said, nothing. It was nothing. It wasn't nothing.
Something obviously happened.
Why can't we? And I just didn't get why she blew it off. Maybe it was a defense mechanism.
And then she was like, yeah, we don't need to talk about it. I'm going to leave. Goodbye.
I think it was just a defense mechanism because she didn't want to talk about how awkward it was. But, and not to say it was okay. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah, that's why she responded that way.
Just a massive miscommunication. Because she said later that she thought he pulled away.
Which, when you watch it on TV,
literally was just, they stopped.
It was she stopped and then she pulled away.
She was waiting for him.
It's like that, the thing in Hitch.
90,
yeah.
go 10.
Yeah.
She did go 90.
She went 90 and like maybe he was just about to go 10, but she honestly didn't give him any time.
Yeah, it was just a massive miscommunication. But the thing is that she wasn't willing to talk about
because then he's like, wait, let's talk about like what happened. She's like, no, we don't need to worry about it.
She just went off and cried into her dog's fur. The other dog that we don't see as much. The small dog. She was literally holding it to her face like a Kleenex.
It did look like she was like legit crying.
She was upset.
But then she says after that happened that when what's his name?
She said it triggered her.
Yeah.
Whenever Zach J pulled away.
And then like reached for her to she said he reached for her to be like, wait, and that like scared her.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that. I just felt like when you're an adult, the adult thing to do would be just to communicate about it.
I think the thing is, obviously, a lot of stuff has happened to Claire in her past with her relationships, and it seems like she's done a lot of processing, and she's really loving the process of healing from that and taking pride in that. But when stuff like this happens, it's clear that there's a lot underneath the surface that is still affecting her and the way that she interacts with people on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not like, obviously I don't know her situation and I want to be sensitive to that because like being emotionally and or physically abused is never your fault.
Yeah, I don't think that ever leaves you.
No, and it doesn't leave you. But I think in this moment, you're seeing it directly impact her current relationships when she's also putting forth that like she's done all the work on herself and she's like...
What I'll argue is that she doesn't have her usual support systems in place that she would on the outside world. So like in this scenario on the outside world, she might talk to a girlfriend or something and then go back and be able to have a better conversation with the person.
And be like, oh, this is what happened.
But here she's just in her head.
She just completely cuts off.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I'm not that her feelings aren't valid, but it's really not fair. The assumptions.
I think she should have talked to him, but I could see why she went the direction she went.
Yeah, I see why she did.
Hurt, you just burrow in.
Yeah, I see why she did what she did, but it was not the appropriate response. And again, is the reason I'm saying, like, I don't think this is the show for you.
I don't know. I don't think this is the show for a lot of people, but they sign up to go anyways.
Like
I said before, we asked for someone that knew what they wanted and was ready to commit, and we got it.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not saying that I'm happy with all the decisions she's made. I'm just saying we got what we asked. This is the opposite of Pilot Pete.
That's very true. Although I will, we'll get into this in a minute.
Yeah, we do need to move on. We get to the night portion of the date, and this is where it hits the fan. So he's sitting there.
Well, it doesn't even hit the fan because she doesn't even show up.
Or it just shakes us. But Zach J's sitting there, and we're like, where is she? Where is she? And we hear the clicking. And I thought, this is like a heel click. But no, Chris Harrison just has very clicky shoes.
What are the odds that they just took audio from Claire's heels and then played it over?
I wish that Chris Harrison just wore heels and then just kicked them off. When
he probably wears, Zach J. I bet he has shoes with lifts in them.
I bet he has shoes with taps on them.
I bet he has shoes that have both of those things.
Yeah, I could see Chris Harrison being a tap dancer in his spare time.
I would love to see that. I would love to see Chris Harrison
Or if
on
he was
Dancing with the
wearing
Stars.
his golf shoes, they definitely would be tippy-tappy because they have the spikes on
Yes.
them. And he loves golf.
Maybe
And he was golfing at La Quinta.
he was golfing, and then he got the call like, "Hey, Claire's not going to show up on the date, so can you run over
He's like,
here?"
crap, I'm on hole 7.
Yeah, so he just put on like a shirt and then wore his golf shoes. That's exactly what happened.
So he comes, and they have, there's some heavy sighs, and he says, Claire is not coming to dinner. And Zach J, I don't think he understands what's happening here. He like tries to explain what happened earlier in the day with the miscommunication and the non-kiss. And I don't think he's registering that like he's about to get sent home.
I don't think he is either. I think that Chris or someone probably asked him to describe what happened earlier. And like that was probably prompted. I don't think that he was just like, wait, I have to explain. Or maybe he was. But I could see that being prompted by Chris or production, and we don't see that. But you definitely could tell, like, oh, he doesn't know how this works. This means he's going home. Yeah. Because she's not here to give you the rose.
He almost cuts him off and says, well, this means you're going home.
Yeah.
And I was like, Zach J is very much processing what's going on.
He's like, no, I did not know this meant I was going home.
And then I put, how do I become a luggage person on this show?
I was thinking that same thing.
I just want one shot.
How do you get the honor of getting the suitcase?
I don't know.
And do you really pack your suitcase every time?
Yes, you do.
That's so daunting.
They have to do that. Yeah,
That'd
that's
suck
enough to not want to go on the show. Is to have to pack all the time.
I know. That would suck.
That's my least favorite part of
pack and
leaving
then
a trip.
unpack and then pack again.
Yeah, you would definitely invest in some really efficient luggage if that were the case. So he goes home, buys Zach J. Honestly, if they'd had the night portion, he probably would have gone home anyways.
Yeah, but it does suck for him because I feel like he did deserve a little bit of a conversation with Claire, and he didn't get that. I'm not a Zach J fan. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's zero chemistry. I'm not.
And zero effort on her part.
Yeah, but I mean, they just had no chemistry.
Yeah, but we've seen other leads who have no chemistry, and they still give them the courtesy. She didn't even give him the courtesy.
Yeah, I feel like I will say this. If he was going home, she should have at least been like, I'm sending you home.
Yeah.
That would have been, if she could have just shown up and said, we're not going to have the night portion. Here's why.
Yeah, she just shows up in her PJs.
Yeah, that's, okay. We've met in the middle here.
Yes.
She should have at least gone to him to send him home.
Yes, I agree.
She didn't walk him out.
She'd not be in the Bachelorette.
Okay, so let's move on to the next day. We have our group date 2. Did you see Brendan, how he walked up to Claire here?
No.
It was like a Yellow Brick Road musical theater moment. He was very much like arms up with knees up. And I put, Brendan is hot and awkward.
Oh, it's such a good combo. It's hard to accomplish that.
Yeah, it's a very hard balance. Yeah. He's got it.
He has it.
So this date is the roast date, and the wonderful Margaret Cho has arrived. Mm. She's confident. She's funny. She's radiant. I need some of her vibe.
She's looking good.
Man.
We found out, how old is she?
She's 51.
Nuts.
But I want that confidence now, and I want it forever. Because she just, I know this is TV, but I just felt like that was... She seems like a very confident woman. And you have to be when you're in comedy. Because, people are just going to... especially a woman in comedy.
Yeah.
You have to have thick skin.
Definitely.
So they have a roast, and they invite the rest of the guys from the house to be the audience, because they obviously can't have an audience.
I'm so glad that they did that.
I know. Why didn't they? I wish they had done that for the love languages. I wanted an audience with that and make it more uncomfortable. I love that. Okay, well, Claire says, I don't think this is what Claire really wants, but Claire says she wants someone who can laugh at themselves and roll with the punches. I don't think Claire is someone who laughs at herself.
No, she takes herself extremely seriously.
Yeah, I was like, I don't see...
Everything is one extreme or the other for her.
And it's like, she doesn't really laugh at herself because she's always wondering if she's offended or not.
And she does take herself extremely seriously.
I could see her wanting someone to roll with the punches, but Claire didn't laugh at all on this date. Hardly at all.
Yeah, I laughed a lot.
I laughed too, but so, and I wanted to have a talk to Margaret Cho because I know she was sitting next to Claire on the state, and they did have a short convo later on when people were railing into Dale with the roast about it being kind of hostile.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, there are some good jokes on this date.
They were hilarious. Okay, this is what a roast is. You make fun of people. That's the point of a roast.
I know. Has Claire ever even watched like the roasts that are on TV? Like they are ruthless.
Yeah, this was tame.
You know who can laugh at themselves and roll with the punches on roasts? Martha Stewart.
Really?
She gets roasted so bad because I mean she's had a very
controversial
past, and she comes through these roasts. I mean she has ammo to give. And she just sits there. She sits there and takes it. She got roasted by Snoop Dogg, and they're like good friends now.
That's so funny.
So I mean,
I bet they smoke weed together.
I'm sure, but I mean, she's someone who can laugh at herself and roll with the punches. She's been to jail, and she can laugh about it.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say a couple moments because we're gonna get into some meat here. But before that, I want to say a couple moments that I enjoyed. One, the production aspect on this
much better
stage is millions of yards past the
they
group.
Must have fired whoever did the other one.
They rolled in on the castle and the walls with the greenery, and they were like, all right, whoever did this, you're out. And they brought someone new in, and it was looking sharp, and the men were looking fine in their tuxedos.
Suits from the black tux.
It looks
Sponsored.
great. I just thought that we need to give props.
It was worlds better.
Yes.
Speaking of clothes, we see our fourth one-shoulder dress from Claire.
Yes.
4 one-shoulder dresses in 3 episodes.
It's unprecedented.
I almost missed it, and you reminded me of it.
I know.
We're at 4 one-shoulder dresses. I want to note that when they're working on their content, Bennett is like smiling to himself. He's already laughing at his own jokes.
He's so happy. He's like writing in his journal. He's like,
And once I heard that he had every intent on roasting Dale, I thought, this is a bad idea.
It's a bad idea in terms of winning over Claire.
Yeah.
But it's a great idea for me to watch.
I agree. No, I enjoyed it, but I was just like, oh no, he's literally going to be vaporized on the spot. By not Blake's laser eyes, but Claire's laser eyes.
Oh my gosh.
I want to say that Ben had really good delivery on his roast.
Yeah, he has some good comedic timing.
Good comedic timing, very calm, collected. He didn't laugh at his own jokes, which I can't do. And I love that he roasted Kenny's tattoos because they suck. He's like,
don't say anything bad about Kenny. I swear.
He got a star tattoo, and he was like, "What tattoo should I get next? Another star tattoo."
Yeah, that was pretty
star
funny.
Tattoos.
Also, someone used the word riff again.
Yes,
in a different way.
I don't know who did. I didn't catch who did, but I saw that.
So, who is saying this word?
Yeah, I don't know who's passing that around, but. So we get Ben's roast, but then after that, it's like a marathon of Dale roast, and we see Claire just like, you can just see her eyes get like bigger and bulgier, and I literally thought she was about to vaporize everyone in that date.
Yeah. Also, Bennett used the word zing. I just want to say that.
Zing.
He was like zing when he was talking about his jokes.
Yes. Well, I think it was after the one where he says, Dale, you look like the cobra from the Jungle Book.
And I will say...
that was great.
I saw a side-by-side comparison on Twitter, and it is scarily accurate.
I mean, yeah, I think comparing... I mean, it's an easy joke, but it was a big reach for that character. That's like not current pop culture.
It's very spot on.
Yeah, it was...
And very specific and very obscure.
But, and then he says he'll offer fashion advice for Dale on the big day. Which, I get it. They have very different fashion senses. Dale is more Generation X, even though he is appropriate age. He is a millennial. But
He's like up on the almost like TikTok trends. Not quite that.
Yeah, and Bennett's more that preppy classic. Mm-hmm. But they both are fashionable. I don't think
just in different ways. They
I
just
don't
have
think
a
Dale's unfashionable.
No, and we know Bennett's fashionable.
Bennett is so fashionable. So Claire basically almost implodes here, or explodes here.
Both.
She's so mad. And the date night portion, this was just another train wreck, but in the best way because it was entertaining.
Well, and here's something Claire says during the roast. She says, good jokes are when you don't hurt people's feelings.
This is a roast.
This is a roast. The purpose of this is to hurt someone's feelings a little bit. And if you don't, it's not funny.
I get that, like, they shouldn't all be low blows. I don't think there were low blows.
No,
here.
there weren't any low, but like everything they said was funny. It was fair game. And it was all brought about by the fact that Claire was acting the way she was.
Yeah.
Like that was.
A low blow would be like preying on someone's insecurities as for a joke.
Right. And that's not cool. But a roast, like you said, the roasts are ruthless.
Yeah.
And if you're not ruthless, you're not doing a roast.
Yeah. And if she's seen any roast on TV, which I don't think she has, they definitely prey on insecurities on those.
Well, and like if someone tried to roast Claire, she would flip.
Yeah, she can't take it.
Not even a single bit. But then like someone
if this
does
roast
one
had
thing,
any Claire roast, it would be game
but then
over.
if you flip it, if someone does one thing to her, she's like, I can't believe you did that
That's
to
what
me.
I'm saying. Like, no one roasted Claire.
But I'm saying if Claire, like, I'm saying Claire can dish it, but she can't
That's
take
what
it.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, that's because no one roasted her, and there was a reason because she couldn't have taken it.
And I personally, I think that someone roasting me gives me fuel and energy.
It needs to be spicy.
And I think it's funny. And I also like to roast people. But I basically 90% of all that, I'm like, oh, but I still love you and you're a great person.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff with Claire,
That's what
all
I'm
this
saying. Like,
all
Claire
this,
doesn't like someone who can laugh at
like all this
themselves.
criticism of Claire and everything. I'm like, I would still love to hang out with her. I think she's a great girl.
Yeah, if I met her,
And
I'd be excited.
Yeah, and I would love to hear about her experience, and I feel like we would get along great. But I can still roast you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thoughts.
So the date night portion, she's like ready to give a talking to Bennett.
But then she doesn't really.
What?
Then she doesn't she doesn't go in the way that I think she's going to go in.
She does this thing where she tries to play dumb and tries to get information on Dale through the men that roasted him. It's like whenever you have a friend who's closer to your crush than you, and you try to casually bring up your crush and be like, oh, what did they say?
That's exactly what it is. And I've done this before.
I've done it too. I'm not good at it.
But I haven't done it with someone that I was also dating.
That's the thing. That's why this was so bad, because
all she's doing in these conversations is using them to get information about Dale. And if that doesn't make you feel like a piece of crap, if you're one of those guys, then I don't know what will.
This was this was the one that didn't have any excuse. It was tactless. Like
it was just not okay.
She really thought she was, fooling them with these convos, but they all knew what was going on.
And then they play it back to back to back on the. Obviously, that's editing, but obviously, also all the men are going back and talking about what they were talking about, so they know that this is something that.
Yeah, what happens is Bennett says, "Oh, we just roasted him because we felt like he was monopolizing your time," and she says, "Oh, you think so?" I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, and then he mentioned something about, Bennett made Dale made a comment about how he was the best suited to you, and she's like, "Oh, really?
Oh, tell me more about that."
And she's like, "I just want to know what's happening in the house."
Yeah, that's not what was happening. And then it cuts to Claire, because we have all these edits of the combos back to back. She's literally saying the same thing to every guy. It's like the same combo on her side.
Yeah.
And she says, it's so weird how Dale wasn't on this date, but it was still about him. I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder if it's because, Claire, that's all you wanted to talk about, and that's all you were asking about.
Yeah. I will say I want to kudo Ben on when she brings it up to him, he literally says, like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about us. But
And then
he was unsuccessful even still, though.
Yeah. And I also like that Zach C compares it to Gossip Girl.
Yes.
And I love that he like knew enough to make that comparison.
Another plus for Zach C, he knows, at least knows a little
Maybe
bit about
one of our
Gossip
single
Girl.
friends should like slide into his DMs.
I mean, if he it sounds like he's at least willing to watch Gossip Girl with you.
Yeah, if not already have watched part of it.
Have knowledge. I love Brendan's thoughtful question with the group of guys. He says, does anyone feel like they've progressed their relationship with Claire tonight? Or like she was even present at all in their conversation? And this is where everyone gets real honest with each other. And
which I feel like that question needed to be asked for the sake of all these men.
It was a great question. And it was a scary question. I mean, I don't know if he was put up to asking that question, but that's a scary question to ask, you know, because that could really do you in.
Yeah, because what if other people say, oh, no, we actually do have a really good connection.
And they could have gone to Claire and been like, Brendan's over here asking if you've even been present.
Yeah.
He could have got ripped a new one from that. But no, all the guys are honest with each other, and they're talking about how Claire's not present, that Dale's the clear front runner.
But then, of all people, Bennett defends Claire like a sweetheart. And he says, I don't think she takes the process seriously. I don't think that anything's decided yet because of the type of person she is, basically, and how she kind of set up the time.
He should have been the last person to be defending her about that.
What's happening?
I'll fix it later. Don't worry.
Okay.
We had a little interruption, guys. Don't worry on the audio.
Like, what did I do?
No, you're good. Yeah, I didn't catch him defending her, but good for him. But let's talk about what Claire does when she comes back.
Kara, please agree with me that this was just tasteless and just not nice and inexcusable.
Well, I didn't like that she put it on them.
Yeah, she said, I
didn't get what I wanted from you tonight.
And to me,
or what I needed from you tonight.
If I'm being honest with you, that is actually a very like toxic view of a relationship.
Yeah, there was yeah, I agree with that because it's a give and take.
Yeah, like, you didn't give me what I wanted tonight, so I'm just not feeling it anymore.
That's true. Like, if she's in a relationship outside of this and they don't give her what she wants in a particular moment.
Yeah, well, and that's going to happen in every relationship at some point.
Yeah, so what happens then?
That's a great question.
I mean, this goes back to the other episode where I said I questioned her negotiation skills.
It's just like, like you said, she knows what she wants, but at some points, I just think you have so many great guys here, and a lot of them embody exactly what you want, and you're not giving some of them a chance because of these little experiences that turn you off or turn you away, and it's just not a balanced approach, in my opinion, to finding the person that you're gonna... Yeah,
she could have at the very least been like, I don't know what it was about tonight. Maybe something was off. Maybe it was me. Yeah, just been open to maybe other possibilities other than just the men not giving her what they wanted.
And maybe, I want to say maybe some of this was editing, but then when we see the cutscene of her talking about it later.
Yes. Let's talk about this now.
Yes.
You tell, what did she say though?
Okay, well, so she says to the men... I didn't feel like I got what I needed with anyone here tonight. So I'm not going to give anybody the date rose. And then she pieces out pretty immediately from what it seems like. And she
was like, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah. She leaves and she doesn't hug anyone or anything. Whereas let's keep in mind, after she sees Dale for like the fourth time and they make out in this episode, he tries to leave when Easy's coming in to talk to her. She's like, wait, you're just going to leave without a hug?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Good catch.
So I was just like, okay, she clearly doesn't care. And then as she's walking away, she says to some producer, she's talking about how she's annoyed with the men for really roasting Dale. And she says, you dished on my fiance so hard.
Yeah, she
my
was like,
fiance.
not yet. Yikes. I don't even know if she realized that she said that. That's what I think.
Do you think, is there any way that they have edited this? Because
I mean, it's possible, but I legitimately think that she said it. She didn't realize she was saying fiance because she's in her head. It's already them two. For all we know, there's been conversations between her and Dale. They just showed us the making out, but I'm sure there were combos.
I'm sure there
where
are.
they were already talking about it just being them two.
But I, again, go back to the thing I said where I'm not saying I don't believe in love at first sight or anything like that, but like, if you told me this as your friend after less than 12 days, I would have some serious stuff to say to you about that.
Like I said before, we got someone who knew what they wanted.
There's a difference between knowing what you want and using discernment in pursuing that.
But as in our discernment, oftentimes people in our lives, she doesn't have that right now.
I guess, but I'm struggling to believe that if I were in this exact same situation, I'm struggling to believe that I would be reacting this exact same way. Like, even if
you wouldn't, because you're not her.
But most people would not react this way. I mean, maybe that doesn't make it right or wrong, but at the very least, it's frustrating to watch because
I think seeing what I've seen from Clare in the past, that's why I'm not surprised.
And I think maybe that's why a lot of people were apprehensive about her being the Bachelorette, and knowing what we know. Which, by the way, if you don't know anything about what's going to happen, I guess, like, I'll say before I say this, we're going to talk about something that basically everyone knows, but you might not know about it if you don't.
It's not a spoiler, in my opinion.
Yeah, but if we didn't know that Tayshia was coming on, or if this was the whole season, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
And I would just feel sorry for the guys because...
I mean, I still do. I'm not saying I don't feel sorry for the guys. I just think that if anyone knows anything about Clare before this season from her stint on The Bachelor in Paradise, Winter Games, this is not surprising to me because of what I know about her personality from her previous shows.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say this. I like Dale. And
I do too.
I like Dale.
He has great energy.
And I like Dale and Clare together, except for the fact that it's annoying that they're just like neglecting everyone else. And they're not really thinking about anything else. But I guess when you're feeling like you're falling in love, that's all that matters to you. So I like them, but I'm just saying this is Clare's personality. And she's like been engaged to someone from Winter Games after a really whirlwind experience. Yeah. And it did not work out.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, if I'm her friend and I've seen this pattern in her, I'm saying, hey.
But she doesn't have anyone to call her out on her pattern.
I know, but
they're digging into the pattern. The production loves the pattern.
Yeah. It's true. I'm sure they are feeding that fire. But at the same time, I'm just wondering, how is this not...
She's very much an intuition, feely kind of gal. I don't think she's questioning it at all.
And that's concerning to me. But it's her life.
It's just her. That's just who she is.
It's her life. And so whatever, I guess. Yeah. But
I'm going to keep saying it. We asked for someone who knew what we wanted.
But the thing is, I feel like she knows what she wants, but then that changes immediately.
It can change on a dime. Yes, it can.
So does she really know what she wants? Or does it
she's interpreting it as she knows what she wants at all times.
She's interpreting it that way, but it's not like I don't think it translates to the self-awareness that she thinks it translates to. No, I'm not saying
she's self-aware. I'm just
I don't think she is.
She's very determined to get what she wants, and that can change. This is just Claire. I'm not surprised by this behavior.
I'm a little bit surprised by the extremity of it.
As a student of this show, just not. I'm just not. And maybe other people are. If anyone is surprised by this, just go watch Juan Pablo's season. Go watch Bachelor in Paradise. This is just classic Claire. And I used to be really annoyed by it. And by now I'm just like, this is just who she is. And I'm taking it. And
yeah, so maybe because I haven't been exposed to a full season of hers before.
I mean, I've seen her in 4 other shows before this. So I'm just saying, if you're frustrated with her, just go back and watch. You can still be frustrated with her, but it explains a lot about what we're seeing now.
And I will say, like, we've been saying, can we get some people to end up together, please?
That's what I'm saying.
It looks like they're going to get up together.
We asked for this.
I asked for the wrong
slap
thing.
The hand that's feeding us, guys. I just think no Bachelorette's perfect, and there's obvious flaws. She's obviously made mistakes. She's not fooling anyone.
I would say
but
that
we asked for a love story, and we're getting it.
I would say that in terms of the idea of what the Bachelorette is supposed to be, she's a bad Bachelorette.
Sure. I think that's a valid opinion.
Okay.
But I'm getting the drama that I want. I'm getting the love story that I want. And I, for one, am happy about that.
Love the drama. I'm going to be happy for her if it works out. But she's a terrible Bachelorette. Those are my opinions.
That's your opinion. We're getting the story, a great story. And to me, that's what makes a great Bachelorette.
Yeah, I mean, it does fuel me.
If this was just the same story we've seen before, I would say that would make you a bad Bachelorette because you're giving me the same story.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're getting a new story. It's exciting.
It is. Yeah, I guess it depends on what your definition of a good Bachelorette is.
Yeah, I don't want the same story every season. Then it would not be. Then we wouldn't have 16 seasons.
Yeah,
it would be over in one.
Crazy that we have.
I get that. I agree. There's some clear things that I would not have recommended Claire doing that she did. But I like her as a Bachelorette. So yeah, I'm not going to change my mind about that unless she kills someone.
I don't like her as a Bachelorette, but I do because I like to watch it and talk about it.
Yeah, we're getting excitement, guys. Let's not poo-poo this.
I like that I don't like her on the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that. But
But I also don't hate her. I think she's cool as a person.
Okay, Beth, we hear you.
All right, anyway.
Okay, let's talk about
We're almost done.
Guys, finally the franchise has confirmed, because they have not confirmed up until tonight, that Tayshia is coming.
Woo! And I'm very excited.
We're very excited. She was glowing coming out of that pool. It was a very Love Island-y shot.
It was.
Love Island loves those coming out of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be clear. 99% of the world looks awful coming out of a pool.
Yes.
That's the last place I want my picture taken.
Yeah, you're
coming out of a pool.
You're adjusting your swimsuit. Your hair's straggly.
I look like a rat.
Your mascara might be in your eyes.
Yeah, but
sunscreen
Tayshia here is glowing. Granted, there was some editing to make her glow a little bit more, but
she didn't even need it.
She is hot.
Yeah, she is. The red bikini.
I get the men are probably going to be a little disappointed. They've probably been disappointed in how this process is going. But man, Tayshia.
How could they be disappointed once they see her?
I mean, Claire's a woman too. I'm not saying she's not.
They're both super attractive.
Tayshia is completely different from Claire. I'm very curious to how this is going to go. Because Tayshia is very diplomatic. Mm-hmm. She holds her cards close to her chest most of the time. Because remember, she's been married before.
I keep forgetting that.
So she's a little bit guarded. And she's more of I think she cares a lot about how she's perceived. Mm. So in a healthy way. So I think it'll be a big shift. And I'm interested to see how the guys adapt if they do at all.
I mean, it would definitely be hard to be oh, I thought we were going to be with this person, but now we're this person. But I could see...
Yeah, how hard is it to adapt from one hot person to another hot person?
I could see some of these guys really, really, really being into her. I don't know how they're going to do it. Are they just keeping all the guys and bringing her in? And there's only 18 of them?
I think they are probably keeping the guys. Might be bringing in old guys. Might bringing in new guys. I haven't deleted the people who've been eliminated from my notes because... I don't know if they're coming back or not.
That's true.
I think I have a good feeling about Ben as we move forward with Tayshia.
Yeah, he was good. I could honestly see her being into Chasen too.
Chasen, I hope Zach C makes a little bit farther.
Bennett, obviously.
Maybe Joe will get a few more moments. I don't know. But we'll just happen to see, because maybe they could leave, if they're like, I'm not down for this change. I don't know if they're allowed to do that, but
I don't know why, but I'm just really seeing Chasen and Tayshia in my head.
I'm not seeing it.
I am.
Maybe
I'm
it's just
because they're both really attractive.
Before. I was wrong about Benny.
Yeah.
I really see Ben. We've gotten some good content of Ben so far. He's gotten a good amount of screen time for someone who hasn't had a lot of progress with Clare.
And Bennett's gotten a lot of screen time too.
Yeah, but he's just iconic in his own way.
Yeah. Maybe they're setting him up for
just more
Bachelor in Paradise for his spin-off show that we've talked about.
At least. But yeah, that's what's coming. It's definitely I said that this was the week that Tayshia would be coming. So I guess
technically she's here.
She's here. We've been announced. I will say I was incorrect at least a little bit. But I'm confident. I'm pretty confident we'll see her next week.
I think so too. How can we drag the Clare stuff out another whole episode?
I mean, I guess we could have another dramatic episode like this week, next week, and then have and next week is everything's flipped on everyone, and then the next week is, oh, we're starting over.
Do you feel like what was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I just feel like we're gonna get at least a little more of Tayshia next week.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you feel like the beginning of the episode was always kind of go slow?
Yeah.
And then by the end you're like,
up.
What?
I feel like the first 30 minutes is like the warm up.
Yeah. And then you're just in it.
And then it's like a roller coaster. It's like the up the roller coaster, and then it's like, woo.
Yeah.
And then you're winded at the end, like we were at the end of this episode.
But you have the adrenaline.
Okay, so that's what's coming. Before we close, we do need to do our recommendations. But before we get to our recommendations, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Cabbage Batch Pod. We post memes there, updates,
some polls. Joe messaged us, DM'd us.
Origami Joe messaged us. We did not message him. We did tag him in something, but he messaged us, was very sweet, very kind. And then he even replied to our message.
He didn't just throw it a like or anything. He actually responded.
We had a solid 2-line message from Joe.
I also DM'd Bennett from our Instagram asking for him to do a wardrobe tour. But he has yet to respond.
I have hope.
But he gained when I followed him last week, I think he had 6,000 followers, and now I'm pretty sure he has double that. So I'm not.
Yeah. There's some low follower counts, though, in comparison to other seasons. Like, the younger contestants definitely have more followers than the older ones. But go follow Joe on Instagram. He has less than 2,000 followers on Instagram. That's
tragic.
I mean, I have way less than that. But
me too, but I'm
not. High schoolers who have more followers
I'm not
than
on
him.
TV, so.
Also, follow us on Instagram, Cabbage Batch Pod. And then also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps people find our podcast, and it brightens our day.
Yeah, it makes us excited.
So let's get to our recommendations. This is our segment called Will You Accept This Recommendation? Beth, are you ready with your recommendation this week? Or I'll go first this week since you went first last week.
Okay.
My recommendation this week is invest in a decent a decent massager that you can use at home. A neck massager, lower back massager. A full body one if you want. I just have the neck one that you can also use in the lower back. Because here we are, we're in COVID. Getting a massage is not necessarily a COVID-friendly activity.
Right.
Not to say we shouldn't be supporting our local masseuses. But, I carry a lot of tension and anxiety in my shoulders. And a $60, $100 massage, it's only a temporary relief.
Right.
I can't be doling that out every week.
It's a lot of money.
Or even every month.
Yeah. Or even every year.
Times are tight. That's a gift. Yeah. So I have my massager that I bought online, and my neck was tight today. I was working on the computer a lot, and I used it for about 15 minutes before I came over here. New woman.
Wow.
So get yourself.
Wait, how much is it?
I got mine for like $30.
Okay, so less than a massage, and you can use it anytime.
All the time. And it has different settings, faster, slower, heat, no heat.
Oh, the heat part sounds really nice.
And it's like one of those where you can have it be gentle, but you can kind of push into it if you want it to be like a, like I like to push in because I get some knots.
That sounds nice, especially my lower back. The chair that I use, that I'm actually sitting in right now for my desk, is very non-supportive.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would really benefit from...
I like it. I also like that it has a 15-minute self-timer on it, so it'll stop, so you know how much time has passed.
That's nice.
I usually go through 2 cycles, though.
Yeah, because 15 minutes is not that long.
One for, like, upper neck and one for, like, shoulders, like the meatier part of me. But... yeah, get it yourself a massager. It's COVID friendly. It's a good investment of your money, and it'll hopefully last you. I've had mine for over a year. It's still great.
Wow, that's a good recommendation.
But it came in handy today, so that's my recommendation. What about you, Beth?
I would recommend. I feel like I always recommend like a food or a drink, but that's my priority. So that's why I recommend
good priority. It's what you put in your body.
Yeah. So I recommend. There's this dirty chai, so it's like espresso plus chai tea mix, like concentrate that they sell at Target. It's the Good and Gather brand.
Oh, the Target brand.
Yes.
The fancy one.
Yeah, the new one, which they're bringing game with
Target,
that brand.
Yeah, let's not shade the Target brand.
And they also have a granola that's really good, but that's not my recommendation. My recommendation is this dirty chai concentrate, because you can basically, you just get, if you want to make it iced, you just put a glass with some ice, and then you pour like half chai, half almond milk or whatever milk, and mix it up, and you just have an iced dirty chai latte.
Fancy.
And it tastes so good. It's not too sweet. You can also do it hot, but I've just been doing it iced, and I've been drinking them like halfway through the day, and it just gives me that.
I love any moment that you can like bring a bit of Starbucks home.
Yes, and we also have a table outside on our balcony now too, so Nate and I will like sit at the table and outside and do work, and I have my iced chai, and it's like I'm sitting on the porch of a coffee shop, but it's free.
Oh my gosh.
So
I love that.
The whole ambiance, but really just that chai concentrate is so good. It's like the best one that I've tried.
Yeah, I've
so
never
far.
tried a good anything
I think it's because it's a dirty chai that has the espresso in it. Really makes it.
You're just a fancy woman, Beth.
Well, my sister sent it to me. So really, she's the one who...
I just feel like you're a connoisseur for the finer things.
Really? I mean, it's like a $3 chai concentrate.
I'm just saying, even the phrase "dirty chai," like that's beyond me.
Okay, fine, you're right.
I just
I'm
like
fancy.
drip coffee or latte or whatever.
Well, the thing is, this is accessible for all people.
I like that the fanciness is accessible.
Yeah, that's like the definition of my whole life is like trying to be bougie.
Accessible fancy.
Yes, that's exactly my
that's what it
aesthetic.
is. Because I don't think you live like a bougie lifestyle, but I just think that you're an elegant person.
I would live a bougie lifestyle if I had the means.
You would do it.
But I try and emulate.
Accessible fancy is what we're living for in 2020 because we need fancy to be accessible from home, but also be affordable.
Yes, exactly.
Because we're in a pandemic. It's hit our economy. We're also in our 20s.
Yeah, we're not made of money.
No.
People.
Well, everyone, that wraps everything up for us today.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us for it's a little bit of a longer episode.
How long did it go?
Or we've hit the 2-hour mark.
Oh no!
So thanks for joining us this week.
If you made it all the way through, then
please leave us a review.
Yeah, I feel like at this point we deserve it because you listened to 2 hours of us.
You said it, not me. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Oh, next week the Bachelorette airs on a Thursday because of our election. So our episode will be coming out a little bit later next week because, well, the episode's coming out. The TV episode's coming out later.
I just realized that we didn't say our names at the beginning of the podcast.
They know.
Okay.
We're Kara. I'm Kara and you're Beth.
I'm Beth.
We'll get better at this as time goes on.
Yeah. All right.
But join us next week. The episode will be coming out on Friday next week because of the episode airing later. And we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you guys soon. Have a good week.
Bye.